Welcome back to the Rally Room. I'm Emiliana, your host. And today we are talking about AI, otherwise known as artificial intelligence. What we know already is that AI is making decisions. AI is making decisions on who gets hired, who gets heard, and really who gets left out of the conversations are women. So the folks that are designing the tomorrow, the folks that are half the population, are deciding for the other half. And when we talk about Silicon Valley, when we talk about the men designing all of this, we know that it does not include women in a positive light. Don't believe me? Ask ChatGPT or Claude to talk to you about feminist issues, to talk to you or design something specifically designed for women. And it has a really hard time doing that. No different than society. So, what we're talking about is a world that continues to be built around men, right? So going beyond the headlines, people are talking about possibly losing their jobs, what's at stake. But the reality that we're not talking about is AI as it is being weaponized towards women, AI as it is being built by men, and who is being left out by design, right? So it's important. We're calling it a feminist emergency. Yes, it's a feminist emergency. Um, because of the way it is being used against women, right? Um, the futuristic build of AI is reading through resumes, is screening job applications, is running healthcare system, moderating social media, determining who and what gets seen online. For example, for us in Los Angeles, we're seeing campaigns being built by AI. We're seeing flyers that clearly look like they are AI. And so we're also thinking that women are not in the room. And that should terrify us. That should terrify us because it reflects our values of society, and the biases that women are already experiencing in the real world are also being experienced in the artificial intelligence side. So we're talking about balancing that, right? AI learns from data. It learns from human behavior, from historical behavior, institutional behavior, and of course, biased behavior. So historically, women having been discriminated continues to happen as AI learns from humans, from the algorithm, right? So the machine literally is learning how society responds to women, how it identifies women of color, right? Currently, what we're also seeing is a lot of women that are out there submitting resumes, and they know and understand that the resumes are being looked at not by a person, but by AI, right? So it's not helping our cause if women are not in the room shaping these technologies. We are continually hard coding inequalities for women. Hard coding inequality for women under AI and for the future is what we're talking about. Um, and so I do think that there's a conversation to be had around the regulating AI and how it's leaving women behind, right? The tech world has always had a bro issue, I'm going to say bro world, bro sphere, whatever we want to call it there. Because we know that women in STEM are underestimated, underfunded, underpaid, and interrupted when it comes to building out an equitable future in AI. But also think about when a male uses AI, it's like, oh, okay, you're just trying to make your load lighter, right? But when women tend to use AI in speaking to women, they don't know if they want to be putting in their information, one. Two, they don't know how the information is going to be used. But also, we're looking at being called lazy. You are now using AI. And so, again, being interrupted and also being overlooked in STEM. So, it's another boys club. The tech, the AI industry is another boys club. And so it looks exactly the same as our society. Let's talk about it. It looks the same. So the AI culture is wealthy, male, privileged, and highly connected. The Sam Altmans, the Elon Musks, all these folks creating AI have one thing in common. It is male, have another thing in common. They're privileged, connected. So we need more women in AI. We need to make sure that we are at the table, but also making sure that it is not being weaponized against women, and the deep fakes that are out there for women that have to do with pornographic images, that have to do the way with women, how women are depicted. We have to make sure that it is regulated, and let's not even get started on what it takes for AI to listen to Latina women, Black women, Indigenous, immigrants, all of it. All of it is missing from the rooms where the biggest tech decisions are being made. Economics, it's about economics. So AI is projected to disrupt millions of jobs. And who it is, who we're talking about is admin jobs, administrative roles, customer service, support industries. Try calling a call center. It's usually AI. Sending out emails, you get an automatic response from AI. Education as well. I know that there was talk, and there probably are some schools out there that are strictly using AI to educate our children. So there's a big gap and disparity, but there's also a section that is vulnerable. It is vulnerable to all of this, and it's women, because we're underrepresented in AI industries, tech industries. So it's a dangerous combo again, reflecting what society currently looks like, because women are being excluded. We just don't lose representation. We are being excluded and being portrayed in a different light when it comes to AI. So let me read you. So when we talk about the administrative roles being lost, we're talking about the administrative roles that support male professionals, right? So both professionals, if you're talking like we talked earlier about, if we say that a male is incorporating AI into the everyday workflow, they're seen as innovative and they're applauded. Where if women say, I currently or I want to incorporate AI into my workflow, we are seen as lazy and why can't you do the work, or even to the point of, are you not smart enough? So those are the things that are in play, but also the threats of women really losing their jobs. And when we're talking about women of color, so women of color make up about 31% of the um administrative role jobs. So yes, administrative jobs. So that means that we are more vulnerable to being laid off due to AI. So Black women, for example, unemployment rates have been climbing as the other sectors that offered a long-term stable jobs like government employment, they hemorrhage positions. So we're talking about AI is displacing women and a larger conversation, right? So AI is displacing women out of jobs. So the concern around it is what the economists are saying, that it's not just job loss, it's the way that it's destabilizing entire families and communities, right? And so that's the impact of AI on working women. So mostly women are administrative jobs. Women that hold these jobs are in the middle class. They are the last remaining working class jobs that enable them to um, possibly be the breadwinner of their family. So what we know is that AI is displacing, right, women. So this has been happening for the past 2 years, and according to the American Society of Administrative Professionals annual report, they are looking at losing what used to be 26% job loss in 2024, they think it would be closer to 77%. So that is a really um, big loss. And so, what I do want to say is that we want to make sure that women are also being trained and rewriting what is happening with AI and rewriting the narrative that we shouldn't be learning AI, because the reality is we need to be able to communicate with AI so that it has the other half of the population's data, so that we are not being portrayed only by the white male privileged folks in Silicon Valley. So the concerns are two levels, right? What is happening to women in the workforce, right? And then the other concern is how will they be trained to incorporate and use AI with their careers? So there's a lot of things happening there that we don't talk about, right? So let me be clear, the future is currently being programmed, and women are not in the room. And that should terrify all of us because technology isn't neutral. AI learns from the input. And right now, women are not in the room. So it reflects our values, it reflects who we are as a society, and it is moving so fast. A year ago, we didn't think it would happen, right? The assumptions were that it didn't matter, right? And so now we're talking about women being excluded in innovation. We're talking about how we code that into society, and it's not science fiction. It's actually happening from the images that are created that depict women a certain way. It's not magic. It's not magic. What it is that we have, it's not just a machine. We have a white male encoding all of this. That's what it is. It's human behavior, historical behavior that is being coded. It's institutional behavior, and it's biased behavior. So if history has discriminated against women and it continues to do so, so it is now part of the AI system, part of the AI system that is being trained on that history, that discrimination in order to repeat it. So we're looking at what does the algorithm look like, who's reading the resumes, and again, it has to do with AI that has been coded by white males. Women are not in the room, so the machine literally learns um, from what's being associated, right? So facial recognition software has also repeatedly struggled to accurately identify women and definitely can't identify people of color. So there's a lot of disparity around that, and so AI is dangerous for women when it is weaponized and used against women. We do want to encourage women to use the tools to train in those same systems, because otherwise we're going to be left out of the room, right? So it isn't like, oh, AI made the decision. No, there are humans behind that. Humans are training AI. So the bias doesn't appear out of nowhere. The bias is coded, it is inherited. And so if women are not helping shape these technologies, we're essentially again hard coding inequality into the future, more of the same, right? If we're not in the room making decisions on this, we're hard coding inequality. So why are we being left behind? Why are women being left behind? So the problem that no one wants to admit is that the tech world, and maybe we already admit it and don't know what to do about it, but it's a culture issue, right? So it's the women in STEM that are underestimated. We talked about it earlier. They're underfunded, underpaid, and sometimes harassed and moved out of the field, right? And so who we're left with is the tech bros. So it's another boys club that's out there, right? So the people building the future, as we've talked about, are the men, the privileged, the highly connected, are who are um, hard coding. And so, meanwhile, we are scared. Women should not be scared of using AI tools, of learning AI tools. Otherwise, we're going to continue to be missing from the rooms where the biggest tech decisions are made, where the financial issues are decided, right? So it's about economics. It's about economics and making sure that women are not left out of the conversation, as we will be disproportionately laid off. We will lose jobs because most women are in administrative support, that are in education sectors that are vulnerable to automation, that AI can take over, and let's admit it, that they don't want to pay anyway. So that is who will be affected. Women are currently underrepresented in building AI and overrepresented in the industries that will just be disrupted by AI. So it's a dangerous combination, no matter how we look at it. So if women are being excluded from the innovation, we don't just lose representation, we lose economic power. And we continue to be living under economic inequality, and it continues to be generational. We've already seen this story, so we don't want to continue to repeat it. So what happens if we don't act? Because I do think we need to act, but what happens when we don't act? So imagine a future that continues to leave out women. That's where we're at now, 2026, but with AI, right? So if AI reinforces the beauty standards and sexualizing girls and women, it will erase women's voices online, continue to spread misinformation and disinformation targeting women, women in politics, women in leadership, right? But also will continue to deny access to financial resources, as we look at how women will be profiled online, social media, during job applications, because of the way that AI is being coded. It is currently ignoring women, right? So it disproportionately targets women. So AI generated harassment, what we know, AI generated harassment is used against women in the higher levels. The deepfake pornography that is exploding online has to do with who's coding this, right? So women's faces and bodies are currently being manipulated without their consent. AI is being generated as an abusive weapon, and the law does not know how to respond to this. The realistic part is that we still do not have rules and laws to navigate this. We don't. So we understand that it's about power, and it's about who controls technology. And it has to also do who controls technology, controls economics, controls democracy, controls the information. So if women are absent from AI building, the AI leadership and the structure, then women become the products instead of the decision makers. That's what it is. We become data points instead of the architects in our own future. That's where we're at. So that brings me to the rally point. Yes, I know. The rally point. So AI is being used against women. How? Let's talk about it. So AI is being, as we said, being weaponized against women when it comes to their power. It's not hypothetical. It's right now. It's AI generated deepfakes with pornography overwhelmingly targets women and girls. Right now, we're seeing that in politics. Women politicians are increasingly targeted with fake videos, fake audio. They're being manipulated. And there are coordinated harassment campaigns designed to destroy the credibility. The scary part is that technology is moving faster than legislation, faster than law enforcement, which means that women are being harmed before protections even exist. That is what is happening. How does law enforcement handle any of this, right? So every time women gain power in new systems, we tend to lose power with new systems. Once we feel like, okay, we're catching up, new systems emerge to undermine our power, right? We're talking social media harassment, online stalking, revenge porn, the algorithm suppression, and now we're talking about AI generated exploitation of women. This is why women cannot sit out, cannot afford to sit on the sidelines of the tech innovation that is happening. We need to fund and support women engineers, women ethicists, women policymakers, founders, investors, educators. We need women in all of these sectors, women in cybersecurity. We need women shaping legislation to protect women against this type of manipulation, because that means that we need to be in every room to build the future. So history has shown us that if we are not in the room, if we are not at the table, we are on the menu and we are the product. So we can't let that happen. So we must act. I would say contact your congressman, contact your senators, bring your lived experience to ask the questions about how is AI being used against women, who gets harmed, are we excluded, and who benefits from women getting excluded. It's not women, right? And it isn't invisible. It isn't like we don't know who's coding AI. We know who it is. We know who the big tech companies are. So innovation without ethics is dangerous. And feminism has always been about fighting back. That does not protect women. That does not protect women. Is not feminism. So AI is shaping modern life, and we must be able to confront it. We must be able to make sure that it is used ethically. We must make sure that women lead in tech, lead in digital literacy, lead in public policy when it comes to AI, because it's no longer a niche. AI has become and is an infrastructure, and women deserve equal ownership of the future. That's where it's at. So thank you for listening. Thank you for joining me in the rally room. I want everyone to understand that technology is political. Algorithms are political. Data is political. And if women are absent from technological power, then inequality continues to be automated. So what do? We demand better. We support girls in STEM. We invest in women-led innovation, demand ethical AI policies, and push for protections against deepfakes and digital abuse. And we teach digital literacy. We also hold tech companies accountable. That's where it's at. So I'm going to encourage women to lead, not just to participate. I'm going to encourage women to lead in tech and AI, because the future is being written now, and women deserve to be the authors of that future. So thank you for joining me. Continue to join me in the rally room every Friday. Send your questions. Give us a follow on YouTube. Share the podcast episodes. I'm Emiliana Guereca, your host in the rally room. Thank you for not just being a spectator. Thank you for joining me.